Well. Welcome back to my channel. I am Abigail, and today I am continuing with the next month in our series, February. So, like January, February, I had already done a teeny tiny little sketch in my sketchbook quite a while ago, and I just liked it so much that I couldn't move on from it. So I took a picture of it, pulled it into Procreate on my iPad, and did like a second refining layer sketch over it, which is what you are seeing right now, because I just had a certain something about it, and it was actually kind of nice to do this refining sketch because then I could like perfect everything that I wanted. So then I printed it out, and then I can also size it to the paper like perfectly as well. And I tape it to the back of my Express It blending card, and I use a pencil and a light box to trace a light sketch again. So this thing got sketched 3 times. But anyway, I use that to do a light little sketch onto the blending card, and I was nicer. I don't know if nicer is the word, but I thought about you guys more. And so I'm trying out this other little bit of a camera angle coming from the left, so that way you can see behind my big fat hand into what it is that I am actually doing. So I just am using a teeny tiny little pencil. I think it's a 0.05 or something like that. I don't know. It's really, really thin. And I'm using that to help get all the details and stuff. And it's great. I love it. So similar to January, February's design just came like really fast. I don't know. Like obviously I sketched one thing and I was like, that's it. That's done. This is it. And it fell into place exactly how I wanted it for the most part. So the design is like, I was thinking a lot about how February has both warm and like cold associations, but I chose to lean into something like a bit warmer feeling, very fun and like full of energy, and like the warmness is coming from Valentine's Day. And I know I can practically hear the groans of people who don't like Valentine's Day, but just wait. Valentine's Day is only one piece of why I feel a lot of warmth towards February. It's also when my husband and I started dating and my best friend's birthday. Side note, after the sketch, I lighten it up with this kneaded eraser, so that way it's not so dark when I go to ink. But yes, so it's also my best friend's birthday. So thinking about that, I was drawn to something like extra and campy, because like, not gonna lie, that's my best friend. And like when I think about Valentine's Day, that is kind of what I think. It's really just a chance to be extra and celebrate the loved ones in your life. So like buying flowers and chocolates and balloons and little stuffed animals and whatever, fancy dinners. It's just a chance to, dress up something cute and go out and have a great time. Like it's so extra, because let's get real here, it's not as big of a holiday as say Christmas or even Halloween, but like it's just, people love chances to go do something fun, so that's why I liked it. And so about the drawing, with this angle, I have decided to include some snippets. I ink the whole damn thing in this video just for you guys. If you don't know, this is your first video, welcome. I hope you like it. If this is not your first video, welcome back. I also hope you like it. I'm always inking off screen, and I always go, it's because like my face gets really close, and I don't know. It is kind of an uncomfortable thing to film. And so I decided to try out this little angle, so that way like it's not above my head, so like my hand and my head aren't getting in the way. And it's okay. It has to be from this angle due to my tripod, so it's not like the best, I guess, but it is really interesting to see it so close. And my inking process is pretty rudimentary, I guess. I just literally just go over the lines. Sometimes I'll try to make things thicker. I'm inking in the almost smallest pen I have, a 01 in a Micron. I love it. It's like my favorite size, most universal, I find. But I just go over things. Sometimes I thicken up corners or something like under the chin there. I do like a bit of an extra thick line. But most of the times, if I'm going to do like any thickening of any lines, I do wait until afterwards because I'm paranoid about this shit smudging when I go to color with marker, especially when, like this, I'm doing it all in one day. So I did leave time, like I did take a break for like a couple hours and come back to it, but still. And that is also why I recommend this paper. This paper is amazing. Like, practically fresh ink. You can color over it with marker. Like, that's crazy. Like, I can't do that. I inked a drawing in my Canson mixed media, like, sketchbook. I inked something in that, and I literally did not color it for days. It was days later, and the ink still smudged as shit with the same pen and the same markers that I use in this video. But this, doesn't matter. It was amazing. I love it. But yeah, so you get to see my beloved inking process. Now, not gonna lie, like I do like the inking process. I don't hate it. I used to hate it very, very much. It was just like, I loved sketching and I loved coloring, and I just felt like inking was the stupid thing that I had to do in between so that way you could see all the lines. I like it so much more now, but I'm still not the best at it. I'm far better digitally, and I just think that's because I have kind of shaky hands, so digitally there's some controls that I can make it so my lines are a little smoother. It doesn't read every little jitteriness of my shaky hands. But when I'm inking traditionally, you get my shaky hands in all their glory. So I guess if this is what people want to see, they're gonna get it. Well, I don't know. I know I would love to see it, which is why it's so hard for me to like choose to or not to put it in, because, well, I know I'd want to see it, but I also know I don't want to draw it. So how do you go from there? But anyway, so a bit about the design. So like I said, I wanted to go extra and campy, and so poofy sleeves were a must. And then I started sketching in the bodice, and I was like trying to think of a design for it, and then it hit me, stained glass. And then it just kind of fell together, the little design and stuff. And then like where the dress falls, so the idea is that there would be a tighter skirt, one that's not ruffled, underneath the little poofiness, and then at the points of the scallops is like a piece of very, very like, is pleated the word I'm looking for, fabric just really sucked in there at the top, so that way it hangs out very beautifully. And theoretically on the back side, like if this were an ideal world, on the back side there'd also be those little poofy things, but like they'd train out more. And the gloves, I don't know, this just felt like such a princess moment, so I felt like it was a glove moment, needed the gloves. So, and the funny thing with ink is like, in order to make sure that I'm getting everything without like laying my hand on everything and having the best angle, like this shit gets moved around, which is why like I feel like the angle for it doesn't matter as much as I thought it did, because as you can see, this bitch got completely flipped around. So it is what it is, I guess. She's making the rounds. Not exactly what I meant, but you know what I mean. But, so yes, when I include the inking process, it definitely makes the videos far longer. So I am going to shut my trap for just a little bit. So with the markers, it is done. It is now hours later. I decided to, for a bit longer, keep this closer camera angle so you can see me coloring the face. And the kind of unfortunate thing about it is, because it is sitting on the same table as me, if I bump it or move the table, it does shake a little bit, but I don't know. I was trying my best to avoid that. Whereas my other camera angle is on like an arm, so it hangs not attached to the desk, over everything. So it's really hard to bump it unless I bump it with my head, which does happen, but anyway. So for skin, when I'm coloring with Copics, I always go in with my base layer, and then I add my blush and I blend that out with my base layer again, and then I go back in with a darker marker. I usually try to choose richer if I have it, but my Copic collection is fairly limited, so I make do with what I have. But and I doing some shadows, some contouring, that kind of stuff. So I didn't know that I wanted there to be pink in this, and something about a warm, like really tan skin tone with really dark brown hair just felt like not a want, a need for this. I don't know. I don't know if you've ever had a design where you just know. There's not necessarily a rhyme or reason to it. It's just, it is what it is. So anyway, I just knew she had to have that color hair and this color skin. And maybe it's because that is very similar to my best friend. Maybe I was thinking a lot about her when I was doing this. And if so, if that's the case, I hope she's grateful. She doesn't even watch my videos, so she won't even hear this commentary, but that's okay. That's okay. So with the idea of the stained glass, I knew I didn't really have then like a metal. I do know a lot of stained glass metal like is silver, but like you can use different chemicals to turn the metal different colors. But for me, whenever I think stained glass, I always think black between everything. And so that's why the choker's black, and then I do use black quite a bit later on. And I had already picked the colors of the stained glass, and that yellow and that pink were a part of it, and I don't know why. Like, these are supposed to be fantasy characters, and so I kind of wanted to do something a little fun with her eyes. So instead of doing it just yellow, I do yellow with the pupil being the hot pink. I don't know. It gives her, I don't want to say spooky vibes, but like, it's just very interesting. I don't know. I like it. And I didn't outline the iris in pen. I didn't do that with January's either. I don't know. I think it looks better this way for me because the eyes are already so small on the piece that I'm not then filling the entire piece with, or like the entire eyeball with black outlines. It's kind of nice to have it only be the white and the iris. That's nice. So now I am moving into coloring the rest of the dress, which took forever. A lot of times when I do these drawings, the thing that takes the longest is actually usually the skin and the hair, and that's just because I put so much work into it. And then when it comes to everything else, I don't really, I just do kind of basic shading and whatnot, but there were so many little tiny pieces. So the colors came from, I knew pink, and I was actually looking at my Copic case, and 3 rows and 3 colors stacked right on top of each other actually looked so great together. And so one was this kind of salmony pink, one was the hot pink of the iris, and one was the yellow, or the hot pink of this one of the pupil, and then the other color was the yellow of the iris. And so those are 3 of the colors that I decided to pick for this, and I love them very much so. I probably might have to even use them in something else. I love them that much. But I did use the printed out sketch as a bit of a color swatching, because while I knew what colors I wanted them to be used, I didn't know where exactly I wanted them. So I did do a little mapping out, and I did not show that because I showed the entirety of the inking process. So my thumbnail coloring does not have to be included then. But yeah, so it was very helpful for me to do that though, because, and it was, that is another reason why it is kind of nice to like transfer these this way, because then I have like an extra random sketch lying around that's the exact same pretty much as this and the same proportions, so then I can like thumbnail swatch colors without it ruining either like a sketch in a sketchbook or even just, you know, having to draw out like a completely separate sketch for it. I already have one built in. So this blue then was another one of the colors added in. I added in 2 colors, a blue and a green. I just felt like that was like, it needed, the stained glass needs something else, because stained glass is not usually just 2 colors. So I wanted the 5 I thought was nice, and I thought the blue and the green really help balance out the amount of warmth in it, because the pink, the hot pink, and the yellow are all very, very warm tone. So the blue and the green kind of pop nice and contrast nice. So what I was saying with how I think, when I think stained glass, I think the metal holding it together to me just feels black. Black is what I was thinking. So black is the accent color, which I do think kind of like almost makes it more serious a little bit. Like it's not all just fun colors. She also has like a black choker and black gloves instead of like just the pretty little white gloves and stuff. And what I said about like, I don't usually thicken the lines like before I color, I do thicken the lines on the bodice later on, because like stained glass has more black in it, like the more, has thicker lines. But yes, so all the little detail-y pieces are black, and it's starting to come together. Like I literally just finished it and I was loving it the whole time. Like it took me like 2 hours start to finish, and the whole time I was like, oh yeah, this is coming together. And now here I am for another almost half hour going, oh yeah, shit's coming together. Like it's absolutely insane. But anyway, this series will take me, I don't know how long. Ideally, I don't take 12 weeks to get everything out, but I also try to only post 1 video a week. So trying to do more videos a week would be very hard, because like getting 1 video out a week is hard enough. So I don't know. The goal will be to have it done in 12 weeks or less, because already if I do 1 a week, it'll take 13 weeks, because next week my video will be posted is not the next one. It is not March, because I will be like returning home from vacation. That's already filmed, and it is not March. It's like a little sketching session, which is really fun, and I actually can't wait to share it with you. It has a good lesson. It's like a fairy, no, not a fable. I think fables are the ones that have lessons. That's what it is. You can learn from my mistakes while I learn from them as well. It's fantastic. So tune in next week for that as well. Now, I also have to do my obligatory plugging all my stuff. So if you like what you see, I would appreciate it so much if you liked it, commented on it, tell me what you think. If you subscribe, that may also make me very happy. But if that's not your thing and you want to see other kinds of content, feel free to check out either of my Instagrams, where I post more artwork, more business stuff, all that fun jazz. I've got planner pages in my shop which is very, very exciting, and all sorts of fun stickers and coloring pages. On my alternate Instagram is also my reading/bullet journal Instagram, where I post about what I'm reading and my journal pages and whatnots. And then my TikTok, which has content like this, but also so many others. You can watch me pack orders and talk about my business practices and whatnots. It's very fun. So yeah, all of those links are linked below, and that is all for that. So now I'm adding the finishing touches to the coloring in colored pencil. These are my two favorite colors of colored pencil like ever. The first one is called Nectar, and the second one I think is Lilac. Can't remember exactly, because there's two that are very similar to each other, and they're, like I said, they're pretty much the same. And I know one for sure is Lilac. But Nectar is so beautiful. I actually bought it, like it was not in any of my sets. I just bought it because it was so pretty. And it is like the perfect like blushy pink color on like darker skin tones, but also the perfect like freckle color on lighter skin tones. I'm obsessed. I use it a lot. And I use the colored pencil to do a like light sheen of like purple over everything that is kind of like pushed farther back. And then I opened up a fresh package of jelly rolls, which, I was really hating on jelly rolls like the last few videos because like all of mine fucking sucked. And you know what? When I was complaining about that for weeks now, this fresh pack has been sitting in my desk drawer. I don't know how long. Probably at least a month and a half. Yeah. It's gotta have been. Anyway, so I cracked that bitch open and I used a fresh jelly roll on this, and it was amazing. It was so cathartic, beautiful. And now here I am doing the like thickening up of the lines with a thick Copic Multiliner. That bitch is thick as fuck and I love it. As you can see, it is the 07, and I am just trying my best. At first I thought I was only going to hit like the high points, and then I just ended up doing everything because like, I don't know, I felt like I had already done so much, so it needed more, like I'd already done so much, so the stuff that I hadn't done felt weird, so then I just ended up doing it all. And if you can believe, this is in ×2 speed. So I ended up going pretty damn slow, but it was okay. It was all worth it in the end. This is where I decided to keep going. Like, I wasn't gonna do all of the details, but I decided to do them all anyway. And then I thought some places needed more of a differentiating line between them, so I busted out my 03 Copic Multiliner to just outline, to like contain the stained glass part of the bodice, as well as around the one poofy sleeve and stuff. And then I used my crispy jelly roll to clean up the edges, because if there's one thing about me, I'm a very messy colorer. I just am. I don't have time to dilly-dally. I gotta get moving, and I don't know why, but I just do. So I can clean it up with a white gel pen and call it a day. And then I realized I hadn't added any highlights to the hair, and I was like, that is weird. And so I just finished up then with some highlights on the dress, And then this baby is done. And here are the close-ups, and I hope that you enjoyed this video because I really enjoyed making it for you. Have a fantastic day.